Hey, welcome to the bonus training call for Thriving Through the Holidays Challenge. And I'm glad to be here. And I don't know if it was true for y'all, but it helped me knowing this call was taking place. So I'm glad we voted to jump on here today because it helped me just knowing that we were getting together. So hopefully it had the same effect on you. So this call is for you. If you want to talk about what went on this week, if you have any questions, I can always talk. I've got several topics I was thinking about, but it's for you. So let me know how I can help you today. But both of y'all have been not feeling well, so this is definitely a challenge.
Um, it has been challenging this week, but Jenna pointed out, which I loved in the Voxer, she was like, we may not be doing whatever perfect or whatever that we want to be doing yet, but that we're doing better than we have been in the past holidays. And that really struck home with me. Because, yes, did I stick to my one treat a week? No. Did I go off the rails and eat it round the clock? No, I didn't. I've had, I ate my good meals, I had my treats, and it's like, what, do I want to eat that many treats? No, but that just stuck with me. It's like, it's a progress. I'm making progress and just keep going,
That sounds
so
so good. I mean, that's got to be better than probably you've handled that in the past. So that's
yeah,
that's that's a huge victory, and I hope you'll write that down. That is great. That is great.
yeah. I'm gonna turn off.
While I was sick, I was wondering what should I be focusing on? Rest and hydration. But as far as eating, and of course, all of that entered my mind as well. And the easiest things are, of course, carbohydrates, crackers and toast and things
Mhm.
like that. But I was just curious what your thoughts are on.
I think it's tough. I think it's tough. I think because I just went through it and um I do not usually partake in anything white flour, And so usually I don't make an exception when I'm sick either. But I did, and the last time thankfully I'm not sick too often, but last time I had some saltine, like years ago, I had some saltine crackers and I was like, they're to me not that good, So I was like, that was probably a good healthy thing to do in this case. Um, and I pulled out our saltine crackers have been in there forever and they tasted like soap. And literally, I thought it was soap. And so I was like, okay, they've been in here for 3 years. I guess saltines don't last 3 years. And so but because my son was here, well, anyway, I could tell you more about what I did, but I think you have to find what works for you. And I think as soon as I start eating food, I usually have a baked potato. That's usually my first food back. And I ended up having a piece of gluten-free bread, I think. Ended up having a piece of, so I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I ended up having a piece of white bread because my son was here. There was white bread here, and I don't think that was not a good choice for me because, it's basically sugar and it tasted like sugar. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is why I don't have white bread. And so I put a stop to that. I was like, that's one of those that probably shouldn't have even happened because I pretty much abstained from white flour. And so, and then that's the whole thing of do you take the sugary drinks and all that stuff. So I think you have to find what works for you, but I think you do have to take care of yourself in that case. It's like, especially if it's not going to derail you, then you have to take care of yourself because you are definitely not 100% at that point. So,
And what about exercise? So even though I wasn't feeling great, last Wednesday I did the workout and it was a tough one. And then now I'm just feeling so depleted of all energy. You know, what how do you or what do you recommend just getting back into it?
great question. I do feel very strongly now that you should listen to your body. and that it's not going to do your body any good for you to start back earlier than it needs to because you think you need to push through. You know, we always say, you know, pushing through is not something we have to do anymore. Like it might not have been good to do it when we did it in our 20s and 30s, but this is not a time in our life to push through. It's a time to listen to our bodies. And so if you feel like going for a walk, go for a walk. If you feel like, you know, if you feel like doing something more than that, do it. If you feel like, hey, I'm going to do 2 sets of this and see how I feel, that's fine. But I would remove all guilt, remove all shoulds, and remove any fear that that's going to put you back, because it doesn't. I can tell you that it does not put you back. You could be out for 3 weeks, and when you pick it back up, almost everybody, your body knows what to do. It's like you could be out for 3 straight weeks, not lift any weights, not do anything, and because our bodies are used to it, it's like, at least mine does. It's like it just gets right back on the train. And I have to build my strength back up, but I kind of find that fun because you get to build it up real quickly. Like, oh, well, I only got to walk a mile today. Well, tomorrow, and then the next day I walked a mile and a half, you know. So I get to be gentle with myself. And I'm not very good at that either, but I have learned to be a lot more gentle with myself. And I mean, if we don't learn it now, when are we going to learn it? You know, it's like if we don't give ourselves a break now, when are we planning on giving ourselves a break? I was like, well, let's say 75, maybe we'll give ourselves a break. I think we learn now, but I would not worry about losing anything. I would not be worrying about gaining weight. I would not worry about any of that, because it is true that especially at this stage in life, nutrition is much more of a factor than exercise. You know, it's like, you know, yes, you want to maintain your strength. You'll get that strength back. You'll get it back. You know, it's like your body is sick. Your body needs the energy to heal. And so the more you can treat your body with gentleness and give it what it needs, whether it's, I'm not walking a bit today. I really don't want to get off the sofa. And that happened to me. It was like, I really want to get out of the bed or whatever. And I got out and my son went fishing. And I walked over the pond is like right there, like, you know, not very far away at all. And it's just this little pond. And I walked over there and he goes, how you doing? I said, I don't have any get up and go. Like I was ready to go back and sit back down. And then the next day was totally different. It was so for me, I was down longer than I normally am because went into the second day. But the next day I was like, okay, all right, I feel so much better now. And it's like, so I would let your body heal. I would. And I would try to let this be a practice of thinking very happy thoughts like Hallmark movies, you know, and be saying, I'm not going to do it. But did I tell y'all about refuse and choose? Did I tell y'all about that? Yeah. So I would say, I refuse to make myself feel guilty right now. I refuse to run myself ragged. I refuse to believe that I am so important that all that stuff I can't get done, the world is going to end. It's not going to. It's just not going to. If you're the only one who can do that, then they will need to wait for you to get back. And we don't need that. We don't need that on us anymore. We've taken, especially, I mean, I know some of your history, and we've taken on the weight of the world for far too long. We don't have to keep doing that. That's my thought on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, good to see you, Rachel and Jenna. So glad to see you. This call is for you. I've got plenty that I could chat about, but I would love to know, Jenna, we were talking about how we really love the fact that you said we're so farther along no matter what. And I really do, no matter what we've done this year. And that's exactly the reason I did this challenge, just like for people to move closer to what they'd like their holidays to be. I knew we weren't going to get there and be perfect. But if we every year can move closer to the way we want our holidays to be, that's happened to me. This holidays is going better than last holidays. That one went better than last holiday. It's like, and I feel so much more calm, and I didn't get upset about presents as much as I normally do. So we love that you pointed that out. No matter what we are doing right now, it's probably light years. And I think everybody's experiencing that. I think everybody in the group is pretty much experiencing a much better experience. So thanks for saying that. So do y'all have anything y'all would like to share about the week, or any questions or anything you want to discuss together? I love your shirt, Mary and Bright. I love your hair, love your glasses, love your shirt. Yeah, I love the earrings.
We're having like a white elephant gift exchange at the office this afternoon. I'm usually off work on Tuesdays because I don't work full time, but had to get into it for
I love it.
very important meeting.
Yes.
But I wanted to say that I was laughing at myself the other day because I was like, in what planet did I think I could go 1 week without any sugar? Like, what a joke. Like that was even something I was gonna attempt right now. Because as each week went on, it was harder and harder. And I told you I didn't stick to it. But the working out was my counterbalance to it. And so for some reason I didn't have the mental noise like I probably would have in the past. And I wasn't having like tons of it. Like if I had a Christmas cookie with the kids while I was making it, then I moved on. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, oh, now I'm just eating all the cookies. So I think it was a joke that I even thought I could even make that goal, but that's okay. But the other thing I think that's helped is making less social plans. So there's less opportunity to kind of go off my normal eating plan and less of the get-togethers, which is the wine, which leads to the eating and the sugar. So I've intentionally like dumbed that stuff down. And then there's just less mental noise, period. And there's just more like feeling better. So if I do have a couple things, I don't feel like awful. And really, like if you don't have sugar for a long time, then you have it, you feel kind of ill. But I think that also helps because then I feel overextended going and doing all the things, and then you eat all the things because you're just there, and then everything gets out of control. And I've only made a couple plans, and then I like have more control over it when I have a plan. Even if the plan is we have a holiday party today, and I know there's going to be sprinkles, cupcakes there. The plan is to have the mini size, right? So sorry, I can't say no.
That's no sorries. No sorries. That's totally me. Is I have a plan and accountability, everything always goes 1,000% better. Whatever the plan is, just have some kind of plan. Okay, let's talk about this. You said a lot of really good stuff. Less mental noise. Aren't we loving that? Oh, that is like to me one of the biggest benefits. Less mental noise, less social plans, less get-togethers. And then making realistic goals. That's such good stuff. That's great. That's great. So you've got the party this afternoon. We're going for the mini, the mini cupcakes. And yeah,
I mean,
sounds great.
it's all after lunch and I'll have a lot of protein, and I had a lot of protein at breakfast. So it's already, less of a thing,
So
I
awesome.
think.
That's so awesome.
But yeah, that's what I got.
I love how almost all of y'all are learning about the protein, doing the protein, and benefiting from having the protein. So that's really neat to clarify that to confirm that with me. I mean, when that was confirmed with me, I like hearing it confirmed to other people too, including people like me who have major sugar cravings. So that's neat that really lessens it. Okay, Rachel, do you have anything to share, or you want to wait for a few minutes? Want to make sure you get your chance.
Hi. Yeah, I had to go
Mm.
hide in my closet because my kids came home.
Yeah, it's awesome. Love it. Speaking from the
That's where
closet.
I'm at. I am. So I shared today that I having accountability. Like if I hadn't been part of this, I wouldn't probably have been as motivated to get my butt out there today. But I know I feel better when I do it, and I wanted to be able to share something that I was really, doing, So thank you guys for being there. And I felt great at the end. I was like, yeah, that was so silly, but I too have been just benefiting from the discussion that we had earlier on about making it part of the plan to know that when I do have all these extra gatherings during this season, I'm going to have something where I may have been able to abstain when it's not a holiday season. Because I pretty much have to do that other times, but I just went into it with a new mentality that I have to have this plan. So I have a dinner with friends, I'm going to have, one glass of wine, not two. or just somehow I'm
Yes.
cutting it back. Somehow I'm scaling it back and doing it less, like you said. And that's just, going into it with that mindset is helping me tremendously. And so I don't go into it how I would have in the past, like, well, I shouldn't have any of that and I shouldn't have any of that. And then I do, and then I beat myself up and I'm mad at myself, and then I do the go all in. I would have done that in the past. So now I know I'm repeating what you guys have already said, but that's
Oh,
I just keep reminding myself. And I'm very boring with what I have for my like getting back on the path meal, but I just know it's reliable and I can go and I can get it. And so I make that one of my non-negotiables to have that in the refrigerator so that I know I can do that. And I know I feel good when I eat that. And then I don't take that next, unpleasant step where I won't feel as good. So that's what I keep telling myself to get through it all. Because meanwhile, I'm making all the things that I don't want to be eating, for everyone else.
wow. Wow. This
So.
is so good. First of all, I really love the taking unpleasant steps because, we're always trying to get away from the good or bad
Yeah,
and even the right or wrong. So unpleasant, I'm just jumping on that one, man. I'm using that one. I don't want to take the next unpleasant step. I want to take the next pleasant step. I mean, it's unpleasant when we do that and we end up feeling unpleasant, and
Yeah.
having a bunch of unpleasant feelings. So I love that. Don't want to take that unpleasant step. I love that you're really working on your all or nothing thinking, that not going all the way down the road. Well, two
Yeah.
things. One is not doing your all or nothing thinking of thinking, okay, I'm just going to abstain, but realizing, okay, I've got a plan for something. I'm going to have something, and
Yes,
putting it
exactly.
in the plan. Excellent. And then also your all or nothing thinking of, if you do get off track, you're not just letting it go and keep on going. So, I mean, that's huge. If we can practice those muscles, and build those muscles of being able to go against that all or nothing thinking, huge, huge.
Yeah.
But that's awesome.
Yes, I love
And having,
that concept of building the mind muscle in that way.
yes,
That really resonates
yes,
with me. Mhm.
yeah. Another thing that I've been thinking about is you know, exercising the muscle of waiting when you're tempted, because I'm having to do that right now, and just going, okay, well, I have it in a little while, I'll do that in a little while, and just waiting through that, what I call the urge. I don't think y'all probably have the urge quite like I do. I don't think, but just having that temptation, that whatever you want to call it, that urge, that small urge or small voice, small question of, are you going to do it? Do you want to do it now? Do you want to have it now? Do you want to have it now? And the more I ignore that, the more it starts being quieter. And so, and when I say, dismiss it and go, no, not now, not now. It's like you can go longer without that temptation coming up. So that's another thing. That's another muscle to build. That I can build. That I don't have to have instant gratification right now. I don't have to soothe for comfort right now. I can soothe myself in a different way. I don't have to soothe for comfort with food right now. I can soothe myself in a different way. We're building those muscles. That's good stuff. Who else would like to share? Ignoring or dismissing the urge. So what are y'all thinking about the next few days, the next week? How are you feeling about it? Do you have a plan, or have you thought about it yet? A week from today, when we probably won't have a call, but I've thought about jumping on because I'm going to be in an 8-hour car drive. And I thought that would break up the drive to know that I'm seeing y'all if you want to. But it's the 26th. So a week from today, if Christmas is something that you were trying to think about making better, getting through in a healthier way, and a week from today, it's over. And and so if you were just look at the next week, how are you feeling about it? Because y'all
Well,
got some good ammunition. Okay, go ahead.
so we're hosting Christmas Eve. My husband will be on duty Christmas Day, so I like that we have control over the menu. We get to tell people what to bring or not bring, and it's not big, right? My husband has celiac, and so everything has to be gluten-free. And so that helps us have control over it, which then we're having like short rib, we're having like a lot of protein, we're having asparagus, like we're building out a healthy thing that we want to eat, making sure our guests will want the same. And then like not having the pies and the cakes and the things. My husband's gonna make homemade ice cream because he can actually have it. And then the kids can like, make your own sundaes, right?
That's good.
And my mother-in-law's like, oh, I'm looking at recipes for and I was like, just bring wine. Just don't. She's like, oh, well, I was gonna look for a flourless. I go, they don't really taste good. He won't eat it. We don't need it. Just don't bring it. Plus, I don't like her food. So I just really limited, like, like less things showing up. And I know I'm gonna have wine with one of my closest friends that's coming, and I'm gonna have a nice meal, right? And that's it. And then the next day, back to normal. The fire station won't have anything crazy to indulge in. So it's just a dinner party in my mind. All the ginger has been leading up to the Christmas cookies, the gingerbread houses,
Yes.
that's been the problem. More than
Yeah,
like
y'all,
the one day.
yes. Yes, right. That's such a good point. It's like what we're walking through right now is the part we need, that was the harder and um and you're doing it. I love that it's just a dinner party. I love that because that's the way I treat holidays. It's just another day. My food plan's not changing. For me, it just doesn't. I'm not planning on, grabbing anything sweet because that doesn't work for me. Still need to have 3 meals. Not going to skip a meal. Not going to overindulge one and skip the other one. Nope, that's not part of the plan.
And
I
still
have
work
3 meals
out,
and yet still
right?
work out. Yeah, yeah. I might even get to do that this Christmas Day because we normally leave on Christmas Day. We're leaving the day after. I thought about that. I wonder if Chris could run or walk on Christmas Day. Um, and I love what I heard you say about how, this doesn't have to be complicated, basically what I heard. And so I've heard the word in my head, simplify.
Mhm.
And I feel like what a beautiful thing to have the courage and the maturity and the awesome idea of just simplifying this whole thing. Let's just simplify. And how many things are not benefited by simplifying? It's like almost everything gets benefited by simplifying. So I love that. I'm gonna have wine and a nice meal. It's just a dinner party.
And I kind
Yeah.
of wonder if part of it is also like the desire to be healthy through the season. I don't just mean mentally, but like last year, oh my God, we had 2 months of sick kids and people sick in our house. Just like it was just a really bad year. And I noticed this year that if I just stay focused on the hydration and the workouts and the not overextending myself, then there's less up and downs, there's less triggers. And I really just want to be not in bed sick. I don't want to have kids with a fever. So if that means we're just doing less stuff and just like keeping it chill, then we're all benefiting. And if I end up having more sugar by the end of the month just because we made a lot of cookies and stayed inside and chilled, like, okay, like
Yes.
I don't know. It just, I have to work with it to some degree and figure out like which thing I'm willing to make the priority. And for me, it's just feeling well, right? I don't know if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
But part of it is like, again, not seeing the family that triggers us, not having the family that we do decide to see bring anything we don't like, not doing everything that everybody else thinks we should be doing.
Yeah.
And we just do the things that work within our 4 walls, and it's either participate or not. Like we've had to simplify a lot. I know I don't sound very like family friendly, but I have 3 sets of in-laws, like a couple of sets of parents are dead, a couple sets we won't speak to. So like you're in or you're out. And I'm sorry, but that really makes the holidays easier, and it makes me not self-medicate and self-soothe because I'm trying to keep my mouth shut about something.
Mm-hmm. we all have to find, where our boundaries are and what works for us. And, this is the way you're doing it this year. And if you decide to go the other way next year, you can. It's like we do have, I think we do have to think about more people than ourselves, but at the same time, in this area, it's really, I think, benefits everybody to think about yourself and to make even some what people would call some self decisions, but knowing that you're going to have plenty of opportunity to have to bend and plenty of opportunity to have to, you know, to move things around or whatever. But there are some things we can make some choices on, and some
Yeah.
things we can control. That feels like that's been a game changer for you this year. Yeah.
Think so, but I also notice how easy it is. Like if you just go to Target or you go anywhere, like there's whole merchandising lines of things to emphasize the need to numb, right? Like,
Yes. Yes.
so it's like, oh, that's cute. And like you play into it and like I don't know, like all the
Yes.
memes, all the scrolling, it's all with like this idea of like, just do all the things and be miserable, but that's fine because we're doing it together.
Interesting. Wow, that's interesting.
I mean, that's what I notice, at least for having little kids. And like, there's a whole merchandising of like, mama just needs her wine and, you know,
Yeah, that is a
move
true
the elf on the
statement.
shelf even if you didn't sleep because, gotta get it done.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, so therefore you need your wine and you need your sweets the next day because you've been running yourself ragged.
Yeah.
So of course you need that.
Yeah.
Wow. Outpouring of merchandising around the need to numb. Yeah, let's just go ahead and just, what is that word? Manipulate us into that. I'll give you a bunch of food that's addictive. But it's okay. We don't have to do what they're telling us to do. Excellent. Who else?
Can't be the only one.
Let's see. Jenna, everything you say makes so much sense to me and I love it. And again, thank you for putting in our Voxer. We're all doing much better than we have been. And it took my focus out of everything I was doing wrong instead of, so thank you for that. And I guess, I've been sick, so I found out how super triggering that is for comfort foods and things like that. But I have balanced pretty well. It hasn't been like over the top, round the clock sugar. I've been getting my protein in and that really helps. So I just want to stay on that track. We don't have any big family events either, which is great. I told you guys I wasn't making cookies, and there's little pieces that's like, you need to make cookies, but I haven't. So I'm still not going to make cookies and just kind of stay on the balanced path. If I have a little bit of sugar, so what? Move on. Just don't make it into the whole day. And then Rachel, I'm motivated too. As soon as I feel better, I just want to get moving again. I just haven't felt good, and so I haven't gotten out and I went cross country skiing and then I went downhill. So I'm just taking it easy, maybe a little walk for fresh air, but I'm ready to get at least walking again for sure. So yeah, there's my shares.
That's yeah, I hear you. It's awesome. If we keep practicing this, not beating ourselves up, just thinking about the fact that beating yourself up almost never makes it better. So if we can practice just getting less and less of that, silencing that inner critic, being more kind to ourselves, more compassionate with ourselves, as hokey as it sounds, I think it's helpful. It's helping me. It's helping me not to be so yucky, in my voice, to be more encouraging.
Well, one more thing I want to add is, I kind of have shifted my mindset lately to, I've always prioritized wanting to be healthy, you know what I mean? But I guess through all these discussions that Faster Way has brought to me, including you, Hunter, um, I've learned that like being healthy for the sake of something else, you know what I mean? And I was primed for that before, I think I've said, but I don't know why it struck me as differently, but it gives me more meaning in my efforts. And even like I know I'll be able to, um, and Amanda said it in the workout on Monday. She said something about, doing things for yourself, but guess what? That helps you do things for other people, like, which is like your real mission in life is, if you're Christian at all. So I appreciated that. That really spoke to me and helped reaffirm just kind of this new mindset that I have, that not only do I know I feel better and I'm able to show up physically and emotionally and, spiritually for my family and my kids better when I'm doing this. Well, not only, I can just show up that in that way better. And it just helps me realize that it's for a bigger cause. I don't know. That for me, that's motivating me this season too.
That's huge. So, my, mentor taught me that about everybody says it now, but this it's just so that, it's your why. It's like, I'm not just like eating right and exercising so I can keep my belly fat down and, and not gain weight. It's like, it's just so you're doing this so that you can show up better in the rest of your life. And so that I can love my people in my life better, that I'm going to love better. I'm going to listen better. I'm going to give better. I am going to hopefully live out the calling that we've been called to do. And that's a huge why. That's a huge so that. Like for me, it's so that I will have energy if God chooses to give me grandchildren, and that that I will have energy to be able to if my kids need help, that I can go to them. That's big so that for me, big. And that's also very much into my mental health. It's like I want to be as positive and as calm, as I can be. So when I am needed, that I can be, you know, not the person who's falling apart. It's like that. So um, I would highly recommend putting that in your personal success plan about what your so that is, what your bigger why is, because that is motivating, and that's something you can bring back to mind when it starts waning, because it will wane, and it will be a different motivation than, oh gosh, I got to stop eating because I'm gaining weight. It's just totally different. Love that. Have y'all referred back to those of you who have done a personal success plan? It's like, have you thought back to that before? Like in Break Free, and now with my personal clients too, I'm doing this thing called Personal Success Plan. Christine and Jen, I don't know if y'all have been a part of that yet, but where you're writing down what works and writing down what doesn't work, and you're, really getting it recorded. So when you go off and go, what was I doing back then? You'll know what you were doing that was working. And that's what I'm referring to. Is like in the beginning, we talk about the identity of who we want to be in the area of health and wellness. Who do you want to be? Because a lot of times we show up as the person. If we don't start living like the person we want to be, it's hard to become that way. So if I want to be a person who moves, then the best way to be a person who moves is to get up and move. If I want to be a person who is kind, the best way to learn how to do that is to be kind, and to also take things out of my life that's causing me not to be kind. So that identity, I think it's huge. And I've been thinking about that, like how I want to show up for the holidays and how I want to show up for my in-laws after Christmas, and what kind of attitude do I want to have, when we visit them, and how do I want to be when I move my daughter to Florida and I'm sad, but I'm trusting in God's timing for her, and that, so how do I want to be as an example to her that, hey, I'm going to miss you big time, but I trust that this is the right next move, and I'm excited for you, So I think that identity thing is huge. And the more we can move that into our health and wellness, the more you can make it a sustainable lifestyle. It's not that you're on a diet and you exercise. You're not on a, it's like, oh, well, I work out and I diet. Well, no, this is just all part of the person that you're becoming. It's infiltrated in the person. You're not getting health coaching and emotional coaching from emotional eating coach to stop emotional eating, right? You're getting help from a coach so you can become the person you want to be, which needs maybe to have less emotional eating in it. You know, totally different. Like she said, the shift is such a good word. You're just shifting your mindset, and you do a mindset shift. That's what's going to make it sustainable, because you can do all that diet and exercise stuff, and you can learn what weights you need to use and get on a schedule and all that stuff. That's not the same thing as working on your mindset. And your mindset shifts are going to help you the rest of your life. And when you learned to shift your mindset yourself and start learning how to do it up in your head, that affects the rest of your life. That's the stuff I'm working on big time. Is trying to get that shift to happen inside my head without having to, talk to 42 people.
But can I say to that point, like,
Yeah.
it's something that it's not a destination we arrive at, right? I have to keep reminding myself that, there may have been in the past, like, oh, there was just a discussion on, one of the other groups about once you get to your, ideal weight, is that the goal? No, like, it's like ongoing. It's for the rest of our lives. It's a continuous, like, we have to never stop striving, right? Not in a bad way, but like just keep, it's not a destination, it's this journey. I don't know. And that goes with the whole path analogy. So I appreciate
Exactly.
that.
That's what I was thinking about, was the path. It's like,
Yeah.
you're going to come along areas of the path where there's a lot of dead and no leaves and nothing pretty to look at. And then you're going to cross areas of the path where it's now spring and it's beautiful. And we have so many of the beautiful things to look at. And we're going to go through winter, we're going to go through different seasons but we just keep walking because we know that we're on this path and we're going to keep going because this takes us to where we want to be, and it takes us to a place of peace. And there's more peace coming. As the more you walking on the path, you start feeling okay about the different seasons. You're like, oh, I know this season. Like for now, for me here, it's cold here and the days are short. I don't really like cold and I don't really like short days, but it's not affecting me as much as it used to. Like every year it affects me less. I'm like, oh, 2 days from now is the shortest day of the year. That means we're moving back in the other direction. And I can learn to, cozy up by the fire and watch Hallmark movies with my husband and watch sports with my kids. And, it's like now winter is not this awful, I just have to endure it, It's like it's part of the seasons. It's part of the seasons. And yes, we can use that as a time to maybe get a little bit more snugly under our blankets instead of, being out so late. So it's different. I think we learn how to how seasons can work with us, including the seasons are very hard. Just like when we get the stomach bug and go, oh crap, this is not fun. And you build all that character and you think, what kind of attitude am I going to have through this? Because it's not going to get better for me to have a bad attitude. And it's okay. Everybody gets a stomach bug. And then you feel better and you're like, wow, I feel even more thankful for how good I feel all the time. Good stuff. Okay. Go ahead, Lynn. Sorry.
Well, I just wanted to thank, you and your programs and Chris, just for your mindset pieces, because I don't know, the weight and all that stuff is finally taking kind of back seat. It's there a little bit, and every once in a while I get on the scale and it's like, oh, I should, but then I get into those, things I've been thinking for years. And it's just so nice to have that not in the forefront all the time. So thank you for that.
Oh, that makes me so happy.
It just means the world to not have that. Like, I'm like, okay, if I stay at this weight for the rest of my life, fine. I don't really care anymore. As long as I'm healthy and strong and, can live my life the way I want, then so be it. So I used to be the person that'd be like, I'm going to lose X amount of weight by the end of the week. And every week I'm going to lose so many pounds. And then by this point, did I ever reach that weight? Never. So it's
Never.
it's so freeing. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, that makes me so happy because that's the reason I do what I do. And that's the reason I called it Break Free, even though there are other things out there. It's like, it truly is a freedom, and that makes me so happy. That makes me want to do this the rest of my life. That makes me so happy. And that's awesome. And thank you for showing up. And thank you for not just showing up, for participating. And to all of you for showing up all the way through and to participating. And we're going to keep this Voxer open all the way to the end of the year. And we can see if we want to do an impromptu thing next week. Like I say, I'm on the road, but if anybody needs to make a plan for New Year's Eve or anything like that, but think about how you're going to feel on the 26th and think about how you're going to feel on the 1st. And let's just keep going, because for the record, if you were a person who wanted to count it down, we are counting it down, man. And I can be a person who wants to count it down and let it be kind of move on, get back to routine. But I'm trying not to do that, especially since that means my daughter's moving. But it's like I can enjoy the time now on the 19th, and I'm starting to do that more, and not just think, oh gosh, I'll be so glad when the travel's over or the whatever's over, or and it's like, this is now. This is a very happy time for my family. This is now. I'm gonna live in the now, and I feel like I'm being present a little bit more. And that's a big deal for me because I'm always in the future. So thank y'all so much for showing up, for participating. I will tell you that, like I say, we're keeping the Voxer open. We might even try to work in another call in there somewhere. If at any time that y'all have several of you that would like for me to open up the Zoom where y'all can get on and see each other, then just let me know and I'll open it up. And then if you'll look for me in the next week, if you'll look for me an email, I really appreciate if you would fill out the final assessment so I can, just continue to make this better and have record of what really did mean a lot to you, so I can keep that in case we do it next year, which is kind of fun, the thought of that. And wouldn't that be fun, like, to come back and have a whole year of moving in the right direction, and then come back and go, yeah, I remember last year we said this. And also, I will put the link to the info hub in that email, so you don't always have to. Hopefully you've already saved that, but you can save that email, but you can save that somewhere else. And if you need anything else like that, let me know. Make sure that I put that in there, and you should get that email this week. I
Yeah.
also will. Yeah,
Are
go ahead,
you
Jenna.
the 26th around the same time? Are you thinking of another call?
Would anybody want one?
I would do it.
Okay, well then, let's say that I'm going to I'll be in the car, so I probably will welcome it because I've probably been on the road several hours already. That I will open it up no matter what, and I will jump on if I can, and we'll put that in the email, and we'll need to put that in the Voxer and let people know. And also wanted to say too that I really do appreciate referrals, because that is the best way for the word to get out that there isn't such thing as an emotional eating coach out there. And so I probably will share with you a couple of things that you could send to someone else, like the flyer for Break Free that you've probably already seen, that kind of thing. So I would love it if you want to post anything about your experience with the challenge, or if you want to just send something to me as a testimonial. But definitely if you want to tell anybody, because referrals are the best thing. So appreciate all of you, and I've loved this, and I hope I'll see you again a week from now. And I love that, because we just go, oh wow, we just have another week, and it helps me too. And I want to stay accountable to my goals. So I really would love to stay accountable to that. Gosh, I'd love to stay accountable the 2 weeks, because that'll be next year. Next week it'll be a lot even harder for that. So if you want to put a goal in for the week that's any different, go right ahead. I may put put the snowflake in and say that I'm staying with my goal, just to remind myself and be accountable to it. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to put the snowflake on there, say I'm staying with the goal of no eating while standing up, and I'm reporting every single night. So there you go. This is the strongest point. Before we get off, does anybody have any one of those strong points you want to say while you have the strength to say it? Because that helps me a lot, just to say it.
I think I want to set a timer for every time I have a craving, right? Like you said, just wait, maybe.
Yep.
Wait. Right as soon as I finish dinner, I'm always like, piece of chocolate. So
Yeah.
what if I waited 5 minutes? Like, what would happen? I wonder what would
I
happen.
love this.
might go clean a closet and I might forget. What would happen?
What are the possibilities? That's my favorite line now. It's what are the possibilities? I think sometimes we don't think about the wonderful possibilities. Okay. I love that setting a timer thing, and I might take you up on that. Like I might try to apply that because I know what for me it would be. So, ooh, love that. Anybody else want to say something? That's good.
I'm gonna I'm not gonna have the one treat a week or whatever. I'm going to just kind of go with it. Jenna, I'm gonna use your timer. I think that sounds awesome. And what a great idea, just that's an action too, which is great. And then I also want to try and get, at least a short walk in every day until I feel better here. I think that'd help with fresh air. So that's kind of a multiple goals, but little goals.
I like it. Like it. Did you
I'm
say like
gonna
at least get a
stay.
walk in every few days? Is that what you said? But you can put it in there. You can put it in there. You got it. Okay. Okay. Who was next?
I just was going to say, I'm going to stay with my original 2, which is just the protein and the breathing. It's really hard to focus on that when you're sick, but it's amazing how much mind space is taken up by either feeling sick or trying to feel well. Anyway, so I'm just going to stick with those 2.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I thought of you the last week when I was trying to breathe, and I thought of you. It's like I was like, oh, I'm gonna do it now, and it was in the middle of the afternoon. It was wonderful. So it was a very short period of time, but I remembered it, and I was like, oh, I'm glad I remember that. So thank you, Christine, for that. Okay.
Well, I'll just say that, I mean, I'm going to stick with my non-negotiables and, and I'm going to try to get that walk in, even if it's just a 10-minute, I mean, just something to get out there, because I know that fresh air helps me, like, and daylight and just getting out of the vortex of my home helps free my mind.
Wonderful. Okay.
So merry and bright, everybody. Thank you.
And I love it. Okay. Y'all, this is super.
Target.
Super.
Oh no.
Awesome. Yeah.
Amazon. $13.
Nice.
That's awesome. Have a wonderful party this afternoon. Y'all stay in touch. Let's stay in touch on the Voxer. It's sure helpful. And I'll see you on Tuesday.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everybody.
Bye.